Welcome to This Is True Really News. Coming up
Thank you.
Today's show, a story from Patrick Reed, our man in Liverpool.
Oh, Vladdy, I have a question for you.
Do you want to get asked now or later?
No, because right now I can't remember it, but now I have to think hard.
All righty. No sweat. Say, if you like...
now I remember.
Yeah.
Why is, like, we have $1 and $1? Is that the difference between quid and pounds? Like, it's
Yes.
the same thing? It's just...
I can answer that.
I don't want to hear from you. I want someone who knows.
Anyone can know from anywhere.
No. They have to be Irish and living in England.
Patrick, help me.
You can't be helped. Well, he could, but I'm not sure he's a trained professional.
If this is the kind of quick-witted humor you enjoy,
What is wrong with you?
please like, subscribe, and follow This Is True Really News. Drop a comment anywhere you catch us. And if you'd like to send us a story that we could somehow maybe get to, send it to TITR@netradio.network.
This is True, Really News with Scott Combs and Tony Vercanis. All the news you're about to hear is true,
Really?
as far as you know.
Getting less and less likely, you know. I have the world's longest story.
Okay, I'm sitting down.
So why don't you start? I'll do the second story, and then you can finish with the third story so that it all feels like normal.
Oh, okay. Can do.
Thank you.
From Lancashire News.
See, now normally we would have taken care of that in rehearsal.
Yeah, but we don't rehearse.
Yeah, or we could have taken care of it in post, but that would why?
We aren't going to do that.
No. So
It's
here we
extra
are.
work. From
Do the talent.
Lancashire News via Patrick Reed. It isn't uncommon to travel at 30 miles per hour on the motorway if the traffic is particularly bad. But one motorist has found themselves in deep trouble after trundling along. Trundling. They used trundling right there from Lancashire.
Innocent
I didn't put
taunts?
that in. Yeah, they did. Trundling along at
Hang
that
on.
speed. Yeah, there we go. I'll never forget. Where was I? I think I was at the traffic reporting company that we did some work for.
It used to be Metro Traffic. Are they around?
No, that thing's gone now. But what's funny about it is I typed in for everybody else a story, and trundling. I used trundling, and of course one guy, Dave Clutter, goes, "What's trundling?"
Think of it as meandering in your car.
Yeah, at an unsteady sort of gait.
At which point you look and go, meandering?
Well, Clutter. He could do that. Anyway,
He was a funny man.
one motorist found themselves in deep trouble after trundling along at that speed on the M6 and the M61 in a mobility scooter. Right?
I got two questions.
How did you get that thing up to 30?
That's the first question. The hell are you doing on highways, dude?
Several alarmed motorists alerted Lancashire police after spotting the vehicle in lane 2 of both carriageways. The vehicle, a mobility scooter of sorts, had a roof and a protective front guard and a large storage box, and was stopped by
Apparently
police
a carburetor and
on Lyons Lane South, heading southbound out of Chorley on its dual carriageway with multiple roundabouts. It also had a bright red L for learner license plate. This is just getting better.
every time you turn around, there's more to this to love.
Police bundled up the driver and the vehicle was seized. Rule 46 of the Highway Code says powered wheelchairs and powered mobility scooters must not be used on motorways. It also refers to Rule 253, which also prohibits pedestrians, holders of provisional motorcycle licenses, riders of motorcycles under 50 cc to travel the motorway.
I love the chutzpah, though.
Suppose the guy was grinning the whole time.
Do they have chutzpah in England?
Yes, they do. They have a robust Jewish community.
I don't care about that part. I was just asking about the chutzpah.
Well, it kind of comes along with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Look at that. I learned something today. I have a mechanical story too, but it's weird and disturbing, and I want Rod Serling to hear it, but he's dead. A skilled pilot goes a long way toward guaranteeing a safe flight, correct? Correct.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because a good pilot will have the knowledge of the machine they're flying, the intricacies, the eccentricities, then the pilot will control every aspect of your flight.
Yep.
Unless, of course, the plane simply says no.
Well, that's a bad sign.
Yeah. That's what Deli Mike did. Over his 2-decade service life, the Turkish Airlines Airbus A340-300 airliner developed a reputation. I don't know how you want to put this. The airplane either seemed to have a mind of its own, or it was a prank plane and was just messing with you all the time.
Okay.
Or
That
virtually,
would give it a mind of its own, wouldn't it?
The same thing, yeah. For virtually its entire existence, Deli Mike suffered from constant mechanical issues and faults, sort of. One of the plane's favorite ideas was to flash its lights at seemingly random and then stop as soon as someone tried to fix the problem the lights were showing. And that was just one of his quirks.
Oh, yeah.
Deli Mike became, shall we say, well-known among maintenance staff. Yet its multiple problems never actually put anyone in real danger. Yes, we're talking about a plane that is seemingly sentient and a prankster. So there you are. Deli Mike's life began, as always. It was the late 1980s. Two planes who loved each other very much. No,
Passing in the night.
That's not it. Turkish Airlines wanted to expand their operations to North America and East Asia. So they got bids from McDonnell Douglas for the MD-11 or Airbus and the A340. Airbus won. And one of the ships they bought
was Deli Mike.
The TC-JDM. Upon delivery, the plane was dubbed Izmir, after a city on the Turkish west coast. Didn't take long, though, for TC-JDM to receive another nickname, Deli Mike, which has nothing to do, by the way, with what you and I are thinking, lunch.
Yeah.
In Turkish, Deli means crazy.
Oh.
And by sheer coincidence, the last two letters of his call thingies are Deli DM, right?
Okay. Deli Mike.
Started behaving erratically almost as soon as he entered service because I think he was just a free spirit and didn't want to work for the man.
That's right.
Throughout its career, the plane was constantly plagued by outlandish mechanical issues that had seemingly no reason. One of the more common issues was that the emergency exit lights would turn on one by one. Think of those little lights on the floor.
Yep.
Think of those in the wave.
And the passengers back there going, holy crap.
No, that issue actually they found out was a good sign because that seemed to mean that Deli Mike was in a good mood for that flight. The plane also liked to suddenly turn on external lights. And as soon as a staff member would go to investigate, the lights would turn off, that rascal. I'm looking for an explanation for this, and there are too many. Some of the plane's other pranks were a bit more malicious. Once it sounded the master alarm signal in the cockpit when only the inexperienced cabin crew member was there. Panic set in until the rest of the crew convinced him that's just the way
Deli Mike
behaves. Yeah. It loved annoying passengers as well because why just mess with the crew?
Did they ever force it to park at the corner of the hangar and just sit there for a few days?
And think about what it's done.
Yeah.
The plane annoyed passengers as well. Say there would be flights you would press the reading light switch and Mike would turn on the reading light switch for somebody else. You can rinse and repeat that same idea with the flight attendant call button.
It sounds like this French jet was made in Italy. It's by the guys who make Alfa Romeo, which are the coolest looking cars in the world, but parts fall off them overnight.
There were some people who could get the mischievous plane to fly right. A famous story tells of a mechanic who went to fix a faulty flight instrument. And instead of grabbing the tools and going at it, the mechanic merely knocked on the instrument casing and said, Mike, what's happened to you, big man? And just like that, the issue was corrected.
Oh, man.
Yep, he was faking it. Despite the ongoing issues, Deli Mike never hurt anybody. The plane did have one incident, September of 2011, where it ran off a runway, but no one was injured.
Okay.
In May of 2016, which is 20 years after it started service, Turkish Airlines pulled him out of the regular schedule and transferred it to charter flight duty so that it would just carry pilgrims to Mecca during Hajj. The plane served in that role until 2018.
Yeah, if they die on the way to Mecca, they win.
By 72 times over. By now, Mike had started experiencing more serious issues, such as landing gear not retracting after takeoff, but not all the time. Consequently, Mike left the Turkish airline fleet in 2019. But is that the end of Mike's story? Oh, no. The plane changed owners a few times until it was finally sold to an African charter airline in December of 22.
Oh, my goodness. I'm never going to Africa.
Deli Mike, not on that plane. Deli Mike, well, actually, you can now, but hang on. Deli Mike flew once more, heading from Johannesburg to Uzbekistan with 3 other Airbus 340s. However, all of the planes experienced an emergency mid-flight and had to land in Tehran, Iran.
And they're still
So, of course, the prevailing thought was, did Deli Mike just teach the other planes his bad habits?
Yeah, proximity is an issue.
The prevailing thought here is no, because Mike was then transferred to the ownership of Mahan Air after the whole emergency scandal. And that's been accused of being just a simple way to skirt international sanctions against delivering planes to Iran.
Yeah, I go with
So I'll take that one out. But for all the others, well, the plane's in Iran now. What are they going to do when he starts acting up? Chop off a wing?
Wingtip. They aren't going to take the whole wing.
Well, even a wingtip is going to mess with you.
Oh, yeah.
See, do you really want a pissed Airbus is what I'm asking.
Tampa, Florida from WFLA via Jessica Thompson. We've done this story before in years gone by. But
we've done a lot of things in years gone by.
Right. But out of this story,
I got some making noise.
I got some details that I have never gotten before.
Investigative reporting. That's my British sound, investigative.
Nice. Temperatures are starting to drop in Florida. And if you've been in South Florida during the winter months, you may see something else dropping once seasons change. In northern states, trees shedding their leaves typically signifies fall is here and winter is near. However, in Florida, iguanas falling from trees means it's time to bust out the jackets. You recognize the story now?
Just trying to think of what kind of... You would have to go to Britain and have an umbrella specially made from falling iguanas.
According to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, iguanas slow down when the thermostat dips below 50 degrees. They freeze and fall when temperatures drop into the 40s and 30s. Now, while the green reptiles may look dead, it's best to leave them be and don't bring them into your home. Because once the temperatures heat back up, they'll revive and start to walk around. Hey, look, it's warm.
They're lizardy.
Uh-huh.
Think cold-blooded.
And these green iguanas are an invasive species, so Florida doesn't want them to begin with.
And you bring them in your house right away, they take over the television, they break the refrigerator.
You'll never find the remote again.
Your teenagers will have someone to look up to, and that's not good.
Residents who encounter a stunned iguana can humanely kill the invasive species if they're able to do so. Green iguanas are not protected in Florida. Well, hang on. We'll get to that.
Oh, no. The iguana mafia.
Except by anti-cruelty laws, they can be humanely killed on private property year-round with landowner permission.
So don't torture the iguana to death.
Exactly. Like the one guy did who kicked it all over the place. You remember that one guy?
Yeah.
You know, and he went to jail for it. It is not legal or safe to discharge firearms or pellet rifles in suburban environments of South Florida where iguanas are commonly causing problems. If you've killed an iguana and don't plan on eating it, it's best to check your city's rules for disposing of the lizard before you throw it in the trash, as it could cost you a fine. Sir.
Couldn't you just dig a hole in the backyard, cover the hole up, be done?
Residents should also avoid
small stone, maybe
throwing a dead iguana on the road or waterway, as you could also get fined. Yeah.
Wouldn't they have to actually see you?
Those who do plan on eating iguana meat should do so at their own risk. While the animals' meat and eggs are considered a delicacy in some places, eating them can pose health risks. Iguanas are herbivores and primarily feed on landscaping, plants, and fruits found around homes and businesses. Unfortunately, the flora in these areas is often treated with pesticides, which can pose
as it should be,
significant health risk.
Yeah, hi, Ma, I just killed the iguana humanely. You want to cut him up? We'll have some iguana chops.
I think specifically if it had a knee, this would be at its knee.
Is the tail fine eaten?
I have no idea. You can eat iguanas, I suppose, but they taste like poop.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.